I had chapter 4.5, which was psychological and legal implications of occupational stress for criminal justice practitioners. To begin with stress, stress is worry or mental tension that comes from demanding events. However, everyone has a different definition of stress, and it's ultimately up to that person on how they want to define it. Quick fact is that criminal justice practitioners report the most stress out of any job today. And two of the most common types of stress you might see. So distress is associated with negative emotions like anger and sorrow, and eustress is associated with positive emotions such as motivation and energy. What are the types of stressors? So routine stressors are intrinsic to the job. These include things such as workload pressure, work development, so things such as promotions, and relationships with other coworkers. Traumatic stressors, these aren't that common, but when they do happen, they're highly impactful, so anything that is disturbing, so fatalities, crashes, shootings. Vicarious stressors, these are also called secondary stressors, and it is indirect, so the hardships of one causes you to become stressed. Stress reactions, so burnout is an imbalance of resources and demands, and it is a result of long-term exposure to the stressors which I just mentioned. And the types of reactions, you can have physiological reactions, so this is increased heart rate, and then psychological reactions include things such as anxiety and depression. What are some ways to alleviate stress? There's no federal legislation currently controlling stress in the workplace. There's only precautions that employers can take, so there's reasonable working hours. This includes a maximum time frame you can work and appropriate breaks, and clear communication from management and other workers to ensure that goals are being met. However, there are many more precautions that are being used today. These are just two of the most common. Harassment and the types of victims. Harassment is unwanted joking, teasing, and name-calling. Most commonly, it is sexual, racial, or cyber. And then unlike stress, harassment does have a federal legislation controlling it. So you might have heard of the Sex Discrimination Act of 1975 or the Race Relation Act of 1996. And then the types of victims. So primary victims, they are direct, firsthand, and present at the scene. Secondary victims are indirect, but close enough tied to the event or victims to still be considered a victim themselves. Tokenism and the workplace. So what is a token? A token is one's status as a symbol of one's kind. So an example of this would be an African American male or any type of minority is hired into a predominantly white working position. This would give the illusion of inclusivity when really it is not the case. And then how does this affect their performance in the workplace? It's often quite negative. They tend to overwork, overachieve to limit their visibility. And last but not least, making claims, harassment, and life-threatening events. What can you do? So all about claims. A tort of negligence is receiving compensation for the harm of others. This must include causation, so one person or event directly caused the harm of you or another person. And vicarious liability, just like vicarious stressors, one party is responsible for the actions of another. So a police department is responsible for their police officers. Is the claim psychological? It has to be a recognized disorder, not for temporary grief. Recognized disorders are things such as PTSD and depression, and then temporary grief. It's not how you feel on a day-to-day basis, it's more established. And then it must be accepted by the courts. Courts have discretion on cases that they do and do not want to take. It's up to them. Can I make a claim? How can I make one? It's up to the relationship, location, and role in the event. And like I just mentioned, courts have discretion on the cases that they take. It's up to them. And then last but not least, limitations. Some may fake injuries or claims. It's really easy to fake injuries or claims as it's really hard to tell when someone is being truthful or not. And then the floodgate argument. Once one claim comes in, a bunch more come in because people know they can get away with it and get the compensation that they want. And that is all.